If you were to ask any normal person, what is a rock lord? They're probably going to say something like Lemmy, Axl Rose, Gene Simmons, Ozzy Osbourne, those kind of guys. But if you're a vintage toy collector like me, the term rock lord has a whole different meaning. And if you was a kid growing up in the 1980s, chances are you had at least one of these dudes in your toy box. I'm talking about Tonka / Bandai's rock lords. So the rock lords were originally created by Bandai in Japan in the 1980s, and they were all characters from an anime TV show called Machine Robo. Machine Robo featured giant transforming robots, and like a lot of Japanese TV shows at the time that were popular, it didn't take long for Westerners to see it and decide that they wanted to buy the rights and create their own version of the show to market to a Western audience. In the case of Machine Robo, it was Tonka that made that deal. So they took all the characters from Machine Robo, brought them over to the Western world and created their own franchise called the Gobots. So they took all the Japanese Machine Robo toys, turned them into the Gobots, and then they also teamed up with animation fucking legends Hanna-Barbera to create their own Saturday morning TV show called Challenge of the Gobots. So by this point, there were two completely different TV shows. You'd got Machine Robo in Japan and you'd got Challenge of the Gobots in America. And if you put them next to each other, they couldn't be any different. Machine Robo was proper classic Japanese anime. It was high octane, it was intense, it was slick, the animation were fucking awesome. When people got punched, they got knocked the fuck out. But when you watched the Hanna-Barbera Challenge of the Gobots, it was a lot more traditional Scooby-Doo style animation. So you put these next to each other and they were fucking worlds apart. So the Gobots then started playing for the Western audiences, got a little bit of hype, and it weren't long before they created their own feature film. And it was in that feature film that we were first introduced to the rock lords.
Rock lords, rocks that come alive, rock lords, fighting to survive within rocks with strength and might, rising up to crash and fight. Rock lords, powerful living rock.
So in this movie, the Gobots characters that we knew from the Gobots TV show receive a distress signal from a planet that they've never been to before, and it's a planet that's completely inhabited by rock monsters and rock people. And on that planet there's a war going on between good and evil. So you've got the good guys led by Boulder, and then you've got the bad guys led by this big fucking rock beast with a mohawk called Magma.
Let it begin.
Like most animations in the 80s, they were put together purely to sell toys. So what we've got here today is pretty much the full run of Tonka's Rock Lords action figures. So the first guy that we're going to look at is Boulder, aka Battle Rock. So in the Rock Lords movie, Boulder is the leader of the good guys, but in the Machine Robo TV show, these are like just random soldiers called Battle Rocks. There's loads of these in that cartoon. Also, I'm not sure why they did it, but in the Rock Lords movie, he's completely different colours. He's actually much better colours. His skin's red, he's got a black helmet, and he's got grey rock. I always would have really liked to have seen a repaint of that version so that we got like the movie version. I'm sure people have repainted these, but it would have been nice to get an official one. And this to me is like the most common rock lord of them all. Like this one you can pick up for a couple of quid at any fucking good toy fair. I don't have his gun. One of the hardest things to track down with these figures is the weapons. Rock Lord's weapons are so hard to find because this was like a flop line. I always liked lines that were a bit of a flop when they came out. No one really cared about Rock Lords, even though every single person I know pretty much had some kind of Rock Lord figure when they were little. A lot of them didn't know what they were off, what they were from, and the weapons probably just got chucked about and no one ever cared about them. So it's not easy to find the weapons for these things as much as it's easy to find the actual toys. Next up we've got Pulverize, aka Sandrock from Machine Robo, and this figure, I love the style of it, but I hate the fucking design. It's the worst standing figure that I've ever owned, and in the 32 years that I've been alive, I've owned a lot of fucking toys. I've never not been a toy collector, but this, out of all of them, is the worst one for standing up ever. They must have been like really rushed or something when they okayed the design on this, because like I said, out of all the toys I've owned, he's the worst for standing up ever. I literally couldn't even get a close-up of him stood up doing the 360 because he just kept falling over. The way that he like claps his back on himself, it's so fucking annoying, and when he's in the cabinet, like, this figure drives me nuts. Now, it's a shame that he's so shit at standing up because the design of the character is fucking awesome. Check his head, it's like a bug, it's like an insect. One of the things I love about these Gobots rock lords is that they've all got such different faces. No two rock lords are the same. Then we've got this guy, Marbles. Now, this is really nice because he's actually in the card. I'm going to talk about the Knollys later, but look how different the card is. So, around the world, these were packaged different, so this packaging's really nice. These ones came on like a blister pack card that you had to rip to get out, but these are in much more collector-friendly packaging, so you can actually open this, take the figure out, which is fucking awesome if you're a collector, because it's nice to have them in the box, but it's also nice to display them loose, and it's nice to have that option. Then we've got this guy, Nugget, aka Mecha Rock. This is another one that in the TV show, in the cartoon, the Machine Robo cartoon, there's loads of these dudes, but in the Rock Lords movie, he is like one of the main characters, and he's voiced by Roddy McDowall, which is cool, because if you're a Planet of the Apes fan, you know that Roddy McDowall's a fucking dude. It's got some nice die-cast pieces on it, and one of the hardest things with this toy is trying to find it without all this gold chipped off. It's really hard to find without his gold chipped off. I've seen lots of them over the years that are really, really worn and bashed, and I always wanted one that were in decent condition. This one is not perfect, but it's a lot better than a lot of the ones I've seen. And he's got a little head like Johnny Five. Like Johnny Five is alive, like a little Tommy bot, and I always love that look on robots. It's a proper classic robot look, that. Then we've got this guy, Granny, aka Gut Rock, and this guy stands up fucking beautifully. He's weighted perfect. He's got nice stiff joints, he's got a bit of die cast on his leg, and his feet are nice and big, and the way he's weighted just makes him stand perfect. And the last dude from Wave 1 in the good guys is this dude, my favourite. My favourite of all the Rock Lords, I think, and his name is Crackpot, aka Cross Rock. Check that face, it looks like a fucking hot cross bun. Looks like some kind of like sea creature. Again, like I said, I love that these don't all have humanoid faces, and who came up with a face that looked like a hot cross bun is fucking genius, because I love that design. He's got his sword. Like I said, these weapons are really hard to find, so the fact that he's got his sword is fucking awesome. And he's one of them that I had as a kid, and he's just like, I always say, some of these figures I've had so long as part of my life that they're like embedded in my fucking DNA, and he's definitely one of them. Then we've got Brimstone, aka Bloody Rock, and I always like this guy because his head's in his chest. You see that? His head's in his chest. I like characters when the head's not on the shoulders, it's in the chest, because it just makes them look brutal. Looks like a big bruiser, like a big fucking Ed 209 tank. He's got his axe too, which is nice, because it's, like I said, it's just nice to get him with the weapons. This dude is Tombstone. And in the Machine Robo series, he's called Geiger Rock, and he's called Geiger Rock because they actually based his design on H.R. Geiger's Alien. So if you look at his head, it's ever so slightly like an alien, like a snake, elongated kind of thing. He's just one of the little sidemen in Rock Lords, but in Machine Robo, he's like one of the top bad guys. He's fucking vicious, man. In the original Japanese version of this toy, he's got red arms and a slightly darker green on there, so he's a bit different to this one, but that one looks fucking awesome as well. Then we've got Stoneheart, this guy, Stoneheart, aka Amazon Rock from Machine Robo, and he's dope. He's like a creature from the Black Lagoon Rock. He's got this big fucking henge fin on his back, like it's really fucking fat. It's like a handle, and he's also got his weapon, which is nice. It's like a cross between some kind of trident, knuckle duster mace. He's got big clawed hands, and if you look at his face, he's straight out a creature from the Black Lagoon. Then we got this dude, Sticks and Stones, aka Double Rock from Machine Robo, and he's fucking awesome. He's like the Rock Lords too bad. Any character with two heads is just a fucking boss man straight up from start, from day one. He's fucking awesome. And he again is one of those that I've had all my life growing up as a kid. This figure's always been in my toy box. Never knew what the fuck it was until years later, but I always loved it, because what kid doesn't love two-headed monsters? This guy turns into like a square rock, and they always got a lot of gypped Rock Lords, because people were like, oh, that's the lamest thing ever, why do you want a toy that just turns into a rock? And compared to a Transformer, he might be lame if it transforms into a car, but these guys can literally get fired through a fucking mountain. They can roll down a rock face and never get smashed. They're like a turtle, innit? A tortoise transforms and sucks into its shell because it's a defense mechanism. So these guys can run, jump in the air, turn into a rock, and then smash straight through a fucking jet fighter plane. So I think it's dope if they turn into rocks. Turning into a rock is fucking dope. What do you know about this guy? Slimestone. He's a lot like Nugget. He's got that same metallic paint vibe going on. And again, he's one of them that's really hard to find without all the paint flaked off. This has got the slightest, tiniest little bit of wear on one of his shoulder pads there, but I'm not worried because trust me, I've had so many of these guys and they're usually always fucking battered. I've had them before when they've literally got no paint left on them, so it's really nice just to get one that's in this kind of shape. And he's near perfect, he's just got a couple of little wears, and I don't mind a couple of little wears if it's something that's like really hard to find without them. He is like the evil counterpart to Nugget, and even though his role was a little bit different in the Machine Robo series, in Rocklords, he's like one of the bad guys, and you see him fire fucking like slime sludge into a dude's face. I think that's why he's called Slimestone, because that's his weapon of choice, like a sludge gun. So the leader of all these bad guys is this dude, Magma. Like I said, he's a big rock beast with a mohawk, and he's fucking dope. The first time that you see this guy, he orders his men to fucking throw a guy into lava and burn him alive. He smashes dudes into pieces. He's fucking gnarly, he's ruthless, and also he's voiced by Telly Savalas, and if you know who that guy is, then you know that he's a fucking boss man. He doesn't look too evil. If you look at his face, it doesn't look that evil, but in my experience, some of the craziest bears look like the nicest people on the planet, so looks can be deceiving. Just because a guy doesn't look too mean doesn't mean that he's not a fucking horrible bastard, and this guy is definitely horrible. Then we've got this one, Saberstone, and I don't know if Saberstone is male or female, but as a kid I always thought that she was a female character. Again, got some nice die-cast pieces in there. Gobots and some of like the monster Gobots and stuff like that, they always had nice die-cast pieces in that made them feel like they were good quality, and this is a dope figure. And also this and some of the others have got such nice, it's not like pearlescent, but it kind of is like pearlescent. The plastic that it's made from has some kind of marble effect. Like they had like a few different colour plastics swirled together inside the molds, and it always gives a proper nice texture and look on the actual rock surface. This one's got a dope head, almost looks like a little Krang brain, little alien face, and she, I'm gonna call her a she, doesn't have proper arms. They're like long tentacle arms. And it's got like a little head popping mechanism, but I don't like to push it down because it gets stuck. Spearhead came out at the same time as that one. Spearhead's like a dope blue diamond looking thing. This is another one that's pretty not good at standing up. But a nice thing about these is if they ever feel a bit loose, they do have little Phillips screws in them that you can just give a little tighten with some tiny screwdrivers. Usually the ones that you get inside Christmas crackers, like a spectacle glasses fixing kit. They work nice on these. I've got like a dope little screwdriver set, but if you don't, those little screwdrivers that come in crackers are always handy for tightening these guys together. He's got a head a bit like Lord Zed from Power Rangers, not the teeth, but the eye like Gigan from Godzilla. He's got that sick V-shaped eye, and he's got like a mohawk thing on his head, and they're cool because mohawks are fucking awesome. Then we started getting these shock rock type toys, and there's so many different colours of these. I think there's like 3 different colours of there's 3 different ones, and there's 2 different colours of each one. There's one that I'm missing, but the one I'm missing is very similar to this one, but it comes in pink and has slightly different guns on the front. But this one's called Blast Rock, and this is Dragonstone, and they turn into balls like that, and then you press them and they just explode like that. We've got this guy, Rock Shot. This was the last one that I got. He was the last one that I needed to complete the set, and I got him at a toy fair last year, and I was fucking buzzing to get him because you don't see these like later waves very often. They're a lot rarer to find. So when I found him, he was fucking awesome, and I was buzzing out to get him. Again, he's got that wicked, like mixed pearlescent. I don't know how to describe it. If you could describe it in a better word, leave it in the comments. But he's got that sick, like pearlescent kind of colour to his rock. It's like a swirly vomit, yellowy, greeny, black colour. It's fucking awesome. One thing that's really annoying about this figure is that his legs don't quite stand up as far as they should. It just stops. The way that it's made, the legs just catch when you try and bend them all the way. So you have to have him stood up like that, like he needs a shit. And this arm here like bends outwards really weirdly, I don't know why, but he's a very unique design, and his head almost looks like some fucking mad rock dog. And then yeah, he's got this mechanism. Then there's Stone Hook. This is one that I've always had. And he has another hooking mechanism like that. Another pull mechanism. And he's cool because you can like wrap up another toy like that in his hook, and then you can pull it and he'll pull them towards him like, get over here, like Scorpion. And then finally, out of that series, we've got this guy, Roller Rock. So those two are bad guys, this is a good guy. And look at him, he again looks like Boulder. He looks like that ghostling from Supernaturals that we reviewed last time. He's got this weird design inside his leg that makes it look like muscle, like red, like exposed muscle that's weird. He's got this big round, fat, weird body, like Fatso from Casper the Friendly Ghost. And his head sucks in and his arms go like this, and he folds into this rock, and then what obviously he turns into a rock because they all turn into rocks, but then you can fold his legs in like this, and then he's got like a pull and go mechanism. But he's got a face almost like a snapping turtle, so it does look a bit goofy, but snapping turtles are fucking gnarly. They're ruthless. You put a melon next to a snapping turtle, it'll smash it to fucking pieces, and I can imagine that a human head's not much different. So yeah, man, I bet he looks a bit of a goofball, but when it comes to the war, I bet he fucking goes in. Then lastly, out of the figures, we've got these dudes, Jewel Lords, and these were the ones that were the hardest to track down. I eventually got them, but fuck me, it took me a long time to track down the Jewel Lords. We've got this guy, Ruby Man, and he's definitely one of my favourites. He's got a fucking dope face. Check that. Check the eyes and the teeth on him. He's got these big gnarly teeth, and he's got his armour that folds down either side of his head to give him these dope fucking shoulder pads. I love 6 shoulder pad armour. His legs are a bit jittery. A lot of the problems with these Rocklords figures is the legs open outwards and not that way, so it's hard to make them stand up, but when you do get him stood up, he looks fucking awesome. Then there's this dude, Sunstone, aka Amber Man, and why I like this dude is because he's there with his chest like that, and then you go and pull him outwards, and it's like extends his chest. And he's got a dope mouth like a sea creature. Again, I like it when they don't have humanoid faces. Monsters are way cooler than humans. Creatures and animals over humans all day. So if you've got a character that's got like a bipedal human body with an animal monster head, that's just a fucking win-win for me. I always love that shit. Then there's this one, Solitaire. So the funny thing about Solitaire is that in the Rocklords cartoon, the animated movie, it's a female, but in the old Machine Robo cartoons, he's called Diamond, and it's a guy. So what they did is they got a guy and they repainted him with lipstick, changed the colour scheme on him like that, and made him look like a girl. Now it's funny because the toy does actually look like it's got some breasts going on. Looks like it's got some boobs going in, but it hasn't. They just like, it's pectorals, but they must have saw that and utilised it and thought, you know what, we ain't got a female character in the cartoon, let's make Diamond Solitaire as a female. And if you look at it, it's like voluptuous physique and stuff. It could easily pass for a woman, that figure. So I can imagine that's why they did it. So this planet that they all live on, it's got a lot of rock people, but it's also got rock monsters. And we've got these dudes, which are more like fucking rock dinosaurs. We've got Terror Rock and we've got Spike Stone, and these are both fucking awesome. Spike Stone looks so sick. He again is made from that wicked marble effect plastic, and he's also got like his bones exposed like he's a fossil. We'll talk a little bit about fossil Rocklords later, but this guy's fucking dope. I always wished his mouth would open a little bit more. His mouth literally opens like a millimeter. I'm not sure why. I don't know if it's just a design flaw or they didn't want it to open that much, but he's got a really weird like mouth opening mechanism. He's got a dope spike on his head, and it's really hard to find his spike not chewed. This has actually got the tiniest little chew, like just one little dickhead kid tooth mark in it, but other than that it's fine. I've had these when they're like ridiculously chomped by children. Then we've got Terror Rock, and Terror Rock's fucking awesome. He's a pterodactyl, if you didn't already work that out. He's got some nice exposed bone as well. He's got like some fossil ribcage showing there, a bit of pelvic bone. And this dude does struggle to stand up a little bit, but if you look at the shape and the size of him and his little feet that he's got, he's pretty expected. It annoys me when it's a figure that's supposed to be able to stand up with his 2 legs, which is like a classic figure design. But this one, I don't hate on it that much. It does fall down a little bit, but it's not bad. You can balance it nicely so that it does stand up nice. Now, there's 2 vehicles in the Rocklords toy line. I've only got one of them. There's one called the Rockpot that I'm looking for. If you've got it, holler me, because I need that shit. But I haven't got that one, and that's like a grey vehicle that the good guys drive around in. It doesn't look that rocky, to be honest. It looks like a lot more like a machine vehicle. But this thing, the Stone Wing, looks very much rocky. Very rocky. Check that shit. I bought this from the same guy at the toy fair that sold me the Rock Shot. I bought both of them together, so I was fucking buzzing out because they're two things that I needed. This has also got that wicked plastic. I love this plastic, what they use. I don't know what it is, but it's fucking sick. It's proper marble effect plastic, and it works so good for this toy line. And it does just look like a rock on wheels, but you press this and the front flies out. Then it's got these wings that pull out the side like that, and it almost turns into like an X-Wing without the X-Wing part of it, but the same shape as the ship. And you turn them like that, and you fold them up, and you pull these down, and you pull that down at the front, and then you've got a sick flying vehicle. Or you pull that out at the back like that, you pull all the bits out, and then yeah man, you've got a sick flying vehicle. And this in Gobots is what Magma flies around in like that. Fucking dope. It's also nice to get without anything broken on it, because I can imagine it's the type of thing where it's got chipped plastic and bits broken off, wheels missing, these parts of the wings snapped and shit like that, but this is in perfect condition. So this is one of my favourite pieces out of all my loose figures collection. I love sick vehicles for my figures, and this took me a while to find, but when I found it I was very fucking happy. And then finally we've got these. These are called Rock Knollys. Now for many years as a kid, I had these and I didn't know what they were from. A lot of my toys were from car boots. Growing up as a kid, my mum and dad used to take me to the car boot every week, and I'd have loads of random toys from the car boot, lots of which I never knew what they were called. I just liked the toys. And these were two that I always had in my figure box. I didn't know what they were from, and it weren't till years later that I found out that they were actually from the Rock Lords. These are two figures that weren't released by Bandai. These were nothing to do with the Machine Robo TV show. They were made purely for the Rock Lords movie. And there's some good guy ones and some bad guy ones. This is the Gnarly Hog. This Rock Gnarly, the Gnarly Gator, I've got on the card. He's the only one that I've got on the card. And unfortunately, even though he is on the card, he's far from mint on it. Someone's like pressed his air bubble in like that. His blister bubble, someone's pressed it in, which is annoying. So you can't even really see him that good. But I don't want to rip it off. I suppose I could take it off and punch it back and glue it, but I'd probably fuck it up. I'd do something wrong and it won't look as good. So I just keep it on there. Check that, it was $4.19 when it came out at the time. So this one came from America. But he's like an alligator. Each one of these Knollys is kind of based on a different animal. We've got the gnarly lizard, which I showed you there, gnarlyphant, gnarly hog, which we've got there. There's a baboon one. There's loads of crazy ones. There's also one that's fucking dope, which I don't have, and I wish I did. I've never even seen one for sale, but it's a giant bull. It's like a big fucking bull. It's about this big, it's bigger than any of the Rock Lords, and it's fucking dope. Like, I just never see it for sale ever. It's like super rare. It's one of the Rock Lords that's really rare. You've got a lot of them that are common, but that one is like, you never see it anywhere. I'd love that shit, but I can never find one to buy. One figure that does go for a ridiculous price, and I don't have it, is the fossil rocks. And there's multiple rocks that all combine into one giant rock monster. I've only seen one for sale once on the internet, and it was like stupid amounts of money. So that's like one that was pretty unreleased. Like, it was released, but such limited numbers. That's the one figure from all this series that's like so fucking rare. There's also a really cool unreleased playset that never came out. It was featured in the Tonka 1986 catalogue, and it's called the Stonehead playset. And it's a giant skull with a crank on its helmet, and you'd crank it like that, and its mouth would open and it could eat rock lords. Also, you could get meteorite colours of toys. They had Crackpot in like mad meteorite colours that were going to come out, and they just never got released. So unfortunately, we never saw that shit, because I'd have loved it. Imagine that, a big fucking skull rock this big that they could all live in and play with. Fucking sick. Yo, so I'm just gonna throw a little cutting video in here. I was just about to export the Rock Lords video. I was putting a couple of little JPEGs and pictures in and stuff like that, and then I found that there was another unproduced playset that I'd never seen before. They just built a prototype. It was never actually released, but they did it, have the full intentions of making it, and it's called the Stonehead Mountain playset, and it's fucking awesome. Check these pictures, I just found them now. I can't believe I never knew this existed before. Also, remember when I was reviewing Boulder and I said that it would have been really cool to see some movie accurate colours of him with the red arms and the grey armour and the black helmet? Well, they also had that planned, and loads of others, man. Check this shit. Fucking awesome. I'm so happy I found this. So what do you think of the Rock Lords? personally, I think they're fucking awesome. Out of all the 1980s action figures, they're definitely some of my favourites. I think they're unique, I think they're creative, I think they're different. Like I said, no two rock lords look the same, and to me, they're a proper underdog toy line, and I always rep for the underdog. Ever since I first saw the movie as a kid, I've always liked them. I thought they were fucking awesome at the time, and I still think they're awesome now. It's a shame that you can't just go and get this movie on a DVD. Like, you can get the DVDs of the Gobots, Challenge of the Gobots cartoon, but trying to get this on DVD is like virtually impossible. You can get like shitty web rips and stuff like that, and people do their own bootleg copies of the DVD that you can buy online, but they are just rips of the VHS. I'm lucky enough to own it on VHS, but it's not a perfect quality copy. It's never going to be on a flickery old VHS, so it'd be really nice if we could get like a sick 4K copy of it. We need to get in touch with like Shout Factory or Arrow or someone like that puts out obscure shit and try and get this on a 4K Blu-ray, because I'll buy that shit. If you YouTube this movie, there is a few clips on there, and there's lots of reviews and that, but usually it's just people gunning it, just firing on it and saying it's shit and just taking the piss out of it to try and be funny. And I hate that shit. Like, I love stuff. I like to talk about things that I love. I like to praise things, and even if they're not perfect, I can always find a fucking awesome quality in something where other people would just laugh at it. Like, that's never going to be me. And a lot of these toys that I review, some people might think they're shit or might think they're stupid, but not to me. I think they're fucking awesome. So if you think they're awesome, I'd love to hear what you think about the toys. Drop a little comment below. Let me know, do you like the Rock Lords? If not, let me know why. What's your favourite toy line? What would you like to see us review on this show next time? I set us at the minute, we're on lockdown, so it's just me reviewing this shit on my own. I have to set the camera up on my own and everything. It's an effort, but it's worth it, and I really like to put these videos together for you. I've got lots that I want to put together. Some of the lines that you've requested, like I've got some of the toys, but I haven't got all of them. Like when it comes to rare toy lines, I'd love to do Power Lords, but there's a couple of the Power Lords that I don't have yet, and I'd rather acquire them and then do the video properly. I never want to be one of these guys on YouTube that reviews toys and talks about toys but doesn't show them. I will always only do a video if I've got like 99% of the line. I don't want to talk about stuff that I don't have. A lot of people do reviews of cartoons and toys and movies and they don't even own them. They don't even own them. They just rip a load of videos off YouTube and a lot of clips off Google and put something together with a voiceover. And like, I never want to do that shit. That's not me. I'll never be the channel that gets the most views, but I'll always be the channel that gives you the best quality possible. And that I fucking hold as a promise. I really hope you've enjoyed this video today. It was one of the longest I've ever had to put together because of all the separate characters that I had to film and get close-ups. There's so many in this line, but like I wanted to give it real good coverage, and it's one that I've wanted to do for a while, so we've ticked that one off nicely. If you did like it, like I said, don't forget to give it a like. Drop something in the comments. Let me know if you like the Rock Lords. Let me know what's your favourite 80s toy line and what you'd like to see us try and review in the future. I've got a Q&A video coming up, so we're going to do a Q&A at the end of this week. I've got lots of questions from you guys, so we're going to sit and get into a nice Q&A. There's lots of videos I've been trying to do while we're in lockdown, just trying to keep this stuff coming, keep it consistent and stuff like that. If you want to get me on Instagram, get me at Theo_Kane_Slimehouse. You can get at me on Instagram, follow me on there, drop me an inbox, let's talk toys. Until then, I'm Theo Kane, this is Slimehouse TV, and we'll catch you in the next one. Boom!